Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard. It's a damn fine day to talk about a book. It sounds like the dog is getting ready to start barking. And today we are here for the Pulitzer Project, episode 7. And we're going to talk about The Overstory by Richard Powers, the 2019 winner of the Pulitzer for fiction. I love this book. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. 5-star loved it. Now there were a couple places where I started to think that, I mean, to be honest with you, through the first half of the book, so the book's told in 4 parts, and the overstory, I mean, I'm going to get deeper into this, but the overstory has to do with trees. And so the story's told in the parts of roots, trunk, crown, and seeds. And what was I getting at? Oh, so through roots and trunk, I mean, I was like, this is it's one of my top 10 of all time, and it might be. The crown. I think due to the nature of the story, it was supposed to, but it kind of takes you down a little notch, to kind of prepare you for seeds. Anyway, so the first half of the book I absolutely love. Crown kind of, took me down a little bit, and then it ended really well. And but it is an awesome book, and I am at 5 stars on it, and it might be my favorite Pulitzer book so far, and that's a might be because Demon Copperhead by Kingsolver was absolutely amazing, and it's these two, right? It's definitely my top 2. I have not made a choice yet, and as I get through these things, I'm going to do videos along the way that kind of orders my favorites of the Pulitzer winning books. But this book's amazing. Let me give you a little bit of synopsis, and we'll go from there. So it says a monumental novel about reimagining our place in the living world by one of our most prodigiously talented novelists. An Air Force loadmaster in the Vietnam War is shot out of the sky, then saved by falling into a banyan. An artist inherits 100 years of photographic portraits, all of the same doomed American chestnut. A hard-partying undergraduate in the late 1980s electrocutes herself, dies, and is sent back into life by creatures of air and light. A hearing and speech-impaired scientist discovers that trees are communicating with one another. These 4 and 5 other strangers, each summoned in different ways by trees, are brought together in a last and violent stand to save the continent's few remaining acres of virgin forest. In his 12th novel, National Book Award winner Richard Powers delivers a sweeping, impassioned work of activism and resistance that is also a stunning evocation of, and I'm not even smart enough to read this, and paean to the natural world. I don't even know what that word is. Sorry. The book wasn't like that. I mean, anyway, from the roots to the crown and back to the seeds, the overstory unfolds in concentric rings of interlocking fables that range from antebellum New York to the late 20th century timber wars of the Pacific Northwest and beyond, exploring the essential conflict on this planet, the one taking place between humans and non-humans. There's a world alongside ours, vast, slow, interconnected, resourceful, magnificently inventive, and almost invisible to us. This is the story of a handful of people who learn how to see that world and who are drawn up into its unfolding catastrophe. The Overstory is a book for all readers who despair of humanity's self-imposed separation from the rest of creation and who hope for the transformative, regenerating possibility of a homecoming. If the trees of this earth could speak, what would they tell us? Listen, there's something you need to hear. Yeah, this book is great, and it's about trees, and I wouldn't have told you that I would love a book about trees. I mean, I don't guess I don't consider myself a environmentalist, but I'm not an environmentalist, right? I guess I kind of am. I'm not out activate. I'm not really an activist, but definitely for the environment. And anyways, but um, the cool thing about this is it's massive. It's not massive. It's 500 pages, but this story feels bigger, generation spanning, more so than any of the other Pulitzer books I've read. I mean, it is this massive coming together of people from different places and across generations. And so, in Roots, you get 9 separate stories about 9 different people. Make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It says 8. Okay, but 2 of them are together. So 8 chapters basically within the first part of the book called Roots, and they're 8 separate stories. Like there's no ties between these stories yet, but they're really really awesome stories. And I'll give you an example of one, and it was briefly alluded to in the synopsis. But um, a man plants 5 American chestnut trees. And this is, there was a blight on American chestnut trees. They really died from the East Coast in, and he had one tree survive. And this tree survived much longer than it should have, longer than the other trees in this country, on this continent. And every year he would take a photo of the tree. So this family has this book, this stack of photographs that show this tree, from beginning to basically end to when it finally did, succumb to the tree disease, for lack of a better way of putting it. And so it's this time lapse photography of one um, doomed, soon to be extinct American chestnut tree. And so all of these 8 stories are in some way tied to trees. Like it said, the pilot that was saved by a banyan tree, and so on and so forth. It's and so these stories all start to intersect, right? They start to come together. They're pulled together um, in this activism. A couple of our characters get together and spend a year in the crown of a giant redwood tree, out in Oregon or California or wherever it was. A couple others of them get into activism. There's a turning point in the book though where something happens where the activism, I don't want to say goes too far, but where the activism gets real, gets serious, and stops. And that is the event that our characters are left to deal with through the third act of the book, which is Crown. And Crown is, again, it's a low point, even though the term as far as a tree goes would be the high point. It's the low point of the book, and I think that's necessary, and I think that's on purpose. And these people were not really going to beat the timber companies and the government. But then you're kind of left with, well, what's next? What? I mean, one of them is facing a long prison sentence. One of them is going out and harvesting seeds to store in a vault out in Colorado. I mean, they're preparing. Some of them, are preparing basically for the end, for humans to go ahead and I guess cast that final, or the final straw, right? That we have ruined the earth by destroying all the virgin forest, all the old growth trees. And yeah, I'm having a hard time telling you this and making it sound interesting. I can feel that as I talk, but this book is mad good and mad interesting. It's just ridiculously good. I never read Richard Powers before, and I am on this quest to backwardsly read all the Pulitzer winners. So, but Richard Powers is definitely somebody I'm going to come back to and check out his other stuff. So the ending of this is really good too. So we go to seeds, right? And there's a circular nature to the story of roots, trunk, um, crown, and seeds. Almost like starting over. And the other thing is that what was I going to say? So the overstory, like I don't know, I hesitate to say it doesn't mention this in the book. I didn't really catch it, but what it does mention over and over again is the understory, and the understory is the stuff that's happening down here on Earth, below the trees, right? Like on the forest floor, but just with us, with humans in general. And so the overstory is what's happening up in the trees. A couple of and the thing there are things I want to mention that again I do not know the science of it. A lot of this stuff I would want to almost assume that it is scientifically correct, but I'm just going to tell you about a few things and not really, you know, um, no, not really know if it's truly fiction or if a lot of these things are scientifically correct. But our scientist that we talked about, she was a hearing and speech impaired scientist. She determined that first she determined that trees were communicating. That trees, like if one tree got a disease, it could communicate to other trees, and they could start to prepare their tree level immunity system or whatever. And she was like she reached some acclaim for that, and then a bunch of male scientists kind of knocked her down, kind of tried to disprove her, and she basically kind of pulls all the way out of academia because of that. And then like while she's like living this remote existence as like a forest ranger, like in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. Like eventually, we're talking decades later, she runs into a couple of people and they're like, yeah, they completely like your work is accepted and taught now. Like like the fact that they refuted you way back then, all that's your work was proven, and so she kind of comes out of that, but she determines that a forest is not a group of individual organisms, that everything's connected through the roots, through the fungus, through the the forest floor, through all these things. That a forest is it's not a group of living beings as much as it is a single living organism. So another thing, we talked about Douglas fir trees in here, and I did do a little bit of reading on this, and I couldn't prove. I mean, kind of. So I mean, the what I googled and found was that that when a large Douglas fir tree dies, that like it it replenishes the soil with all of its nutrients and whatnot, and makes everything around it better and healthier as far as the entirety of the forest goes. Now the book kind of alluded to the fact that a Douglas fir will know that it's dying and um and go ahead and distribute like the rest of its nutrients and resources, thus sacrificing itself for the good of the forest. That I did not, I was unable to find anything like in Google that says that's true. But other things about certain trees that only can reproduce once in their life, and when they do, the seedlings are on the ground being blocked out by all the full grown trees, that are taking all the sunlight, that are blocking the entire canopy, so that this one particular tree, and I should remember what it is, but when it reproduces, when it creates young trees, it pulls away from. I mean, I'm not want to say that it commits tree suicide, but it pulls away, creating a gap in the canopy for its young offspring to be able to get some sunlight and whatnot. Anyway, just a lot of cool stuff about that. That the trees, that again, this is Luke. I'm going to see if I marked it real quick, and I marked a lot of good shit in here, and so much so that I'm not really going to be able to really go through it. Uh, but there's one part that talked about. Yeah, I'm not going to find it, and now I can't even remember what I was looking for. That 4,000 or 4 million years ago or something like that, humans and trees were a lot closer than they are now, and that we share, like, I want to say 25%, but we share a percentage of the same genes. Again, I don't know the science of it, but that is the nature of the book. The That trees are all linked together, and are really, more like a single organism, and humans, by the drawing together of 9 different characters into intersecting paths from paths that wouldn't probably intersect, you get the feeling that the underlying message there is that we are as well, right? That humans are more connected than we realize. Now, I am a very introverted person that does not do super well in social situations, so that's rough for me to take. But you get what I'm saying, that we are definitely more connected as well. I mean, it's a great book, and I'm struggling to tell you why. I mean, it's a book about people and relationships. It's got some great stuff about, finding like-minded people. It's got some great stuff about a husband and a wife that are not, they can't have children. Their plans were to have children. They wind up planting something. On every anniversary, they plant a tree or something in their yard. Some of these are going to live, some of these are going to die, but it's going to be something we did together, right? It's going to be our legacy. Um, their growth is sad at times, but sweet. So there's a lot of great people, human stuff here, but also a lot of great, botany, tree stuff here too. Which, again, I still don't feel like I've sold this book. It's awesome. 5 stars. The Overstory. Richard Powers, 2019 Pulitzer winner. So it's my 7th Pulitzer read. The next one on my list is not here. It's Less by Andrew Sean Greer. It's a much shorter book, so I'll be getting to that in the next week or so. Trying to do 2 a month, but I feel that kind of ramping up. Like, I feel like I might start doing 3 a month. I don't know. Anyway, The Overstory, Richard Powers. Great, great book. Appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.